This is Saskia, and this is Note to Self, your weekly dose of everything that's simply too long to text. Consider this your personal invitation into my inner circle, where I share my thoughts, feelings, and quiet reflections that usually live inside my Notes app. Thanks for joining me. Alrighty, back for Note to Self. Welcome, my fellow listeners. I don't know, whatever. My listeners. Happy to have you here. As you can see, I'm in a different location I think I've been in a different location for every single episode, which is fun for you guys, always changing things up. I'm at my sister's house in LA, or her apartment, and then we're heading off to Mexico tomorrow. So still in LA, and I thought I'd do one more episode in sunny California before heading to sunny Mexico. And these earrings are cute, but I'm going to take them off because they're jangling, and I don't want you guys to have to listen to these jangling earrings for the entire episode. I need to pick my outfits better. They're Gorgina, but they're not practical. Anyways, so before I dive into my topic today, I wanted to talk about something where I went in LA last week. It's one of my all-time favorite places in LA, and it is the most LA thing you could imagine. And it's called Dog People. And, would love to talk about dog people. It's Dog PPL, and the capital PP and then L. And I, for a very long time, thought it was called Dog PPL. And I didn't realize what PPL stood for. I was like, I don't know why they're calling it Dog PPL. It's just the name. It was a choice. Didn't question it. And I kept calling it that. And I think I was going there with Jeffrey one day. He's like, why do you always call it Dog PPL? And I was like, because that's what it is. He's like, you do realize it's Dog People. And I was like, oh, PPL. P is short for people, duh. It makes a lot of sense now, other than just like a random bunch of letters they chose that means nothing. But Dog People is this very cute dog park. It's in Santa Monica. And this is why it's the most LA thing ever. It is a membership-only dog park. So you pay like a monthly fee. And when I'm saying dog park, I'm not saying like some like scrappy bunch of dirt and, a few random balls that you just don't know where they've been from. Like, look, I loved dog parks prior to this, but now I look at other dog parks, I'm like, ew, this place, it's not Dog People, because Dog People, let me tell you, it is like beautiful. There's like lovely AstroTurf everywhere, comfy couches. They have a bar. They've got a little coffee stand. You can grab food. The people who work there are called rufferees. Sends me every time. And they walk around, they break up dog fights. Your dog like kind of has to, I say it's an audition. I don't think it's that intense, but your dog has to go through an interview process. Yes, it's dead serious. And has to have like pass the behavioral test before they can go. And this all sounds insane, but it honestly has created the loveliest little spot. Every time we're here, when we're looking after the dog that was in the last episode, we go there and we spend hours there. You can work from there. When we went on the weekend, there was yoga. They were doing, it was Pilates class. They had a Pilates class. The dogs were just running around everywhere. I was crying. It was just so funny seeing these people do Pilates, and the dogs are just a part of the story. But it is probably one of my favorite places in LA, and they are opening one in New York City, guys. So for my New Yorkers, there'll be one opening in Williamsburg very soon. So for those people that are living in Williamsburg, I got to say, highly recommend it. I wish I could get a membership, but you have to have a dog to get one. So it's a bit uninclusive, but whatever. We'll deal with that on another time. But yeah, great spot in LA. So shout out to LA for that. It's also run by Australians, so got to support the Aussies. But anyways, despite that pivot, I did want to talk about today the ins and outs for 2026. And yes, I know it's February, and no, I don't care. One of my ins for 2026 is doing things when I want to do them. So I just needed to live the year a little bit, get a vibe checked, check the temperature, really like experience 2026 before I made any bold declarations that will ultimately decide what 2026 is about for everyone. So, because everything I'm about to say is clearly my own opinion. So clearly it's a joke. So take it or leave it. Argue with me in your head. I don't care. But as you've all been waiting for, here are Saskia's 2026 ins and outs. Please hold for applause. Thank you. No applause. I imagine one in my head. But first up, we have our ins. And I'm going to kind of go in between the two, actually. But my first in for 2026. Never in a million years did I think I would say this, but my in is new build apartments. I want in-unit laundry, a dishwasher, central air, a gym. Give me that roof deck and that social room that I'll probably never use. But I have decided in 2026, it's the year of ease. There is enough shit going on right now that the least thing I can do for myself is create a home that's comfortable and easy. So 2026 is all about those luxury buildings, and that is not a clawfoot tub. That is just a dishwasher that works. So it's just the simple things, you know? And that leads me to my out, which is living in an apartment with cockroaches. My last apartment, it got so bad. We had so many large cockroaches. And I think the final straw was like the last week in the apartment, maybe 2 weeks. We'd come back from a trip and I was sitting at my desk and I heard this rustling at the very back of my apartment. And I couldn't tell if I was just hearing things, and I ended up going back, and a little mouse had become stuck in I had this like large kind of recycling bin, and I looked over and I just saw this mouse just like, dunk, jumping up and just its little face peeping over the recycling bin. And they're smaller than us. You shouldn't be scared. I was terrified. Jeffrey wasn't home. I like get a chair and I'm trying to like turn the bin over so the little guy can get out, because look, trying to get that thing outside, there was absolutely no way I was getting that close to it. And eventually the little mouse jumped out, and that proceeded to happen 4 days in a row. And at that point I was done. And this isn't my first rodent story of New York City. So I've lived in multiple New York City apartments where I've had rodents and cockroaches. And I think my all-time favorite memory when I was thinking about this out for the year, and also let's be real, this needs to be an out, like this should have been an out multiple years in a row, but unfortunately this has been my New York experience. But one of my all-time favorite stories was when my sister and I were living in our apartment in Little Italy in Soho in Manhattan, and we had this like heinous fold-out couch. It was bad. A dog that we were dog sitting once had vomited on it. It was like this off yellow fake suede material. So like everything just stained. And it was just, it had seen some things. And we had one of my sister's friends visiting, and we were getting his bed ready. And as we were pulling the couch out, we found a flattened mouse in between the like crevices of the mattress. I didn't even know mice could be flattened. Like it looked like something from a cartoon. It was dead flat. But I also don't remember like anything coming out of it. I just remember it was just like flat, which is so unhinged. It also didn't smell. And honestly, as I was writing this story, I started to question myself where I was like, was that like a real mouse or was it like a fake flattened mouse? I don't know, but it was definitely a mouse. And I remember we brushed it up, took it down to the bin, and we were like, let's not say anything. Like he can't know. There's nowhere else for him to sleep. So we didn't tell him about the mouse. And then on his last night, we told him the story. And like, honestly, didn't think that couch could get any fucking worse. And it really did. But my first fucking 8 years in New York were just rodents as roommates. So like I'm saying, 2026, we're out of that. And also what is out, echoing onto that, brownstone for vibes. So brownstones are stunning, especially when they are looked after well. I have a friend who lives in a gorgeous one. It's well looked after, stunning. But there's a lot of old brownstones in New York City. They've been around forever and they're falling apart. That was the brownstone I lived in. And I had a vision, right? When I moved back to New York for my second stint, I was like, I'm going to live in a brownstone. I'm going to live the Carrie Bradshaw dream I originally had when I first moved. I'm going to have the beautiful walk up the steps, a tree-lined street, all of the things, looking out to the beautiful street. And look, this place was a stunning street. It was tree-lined. I looked out to the street. There were stairs. I lived on the ground floor, so my entrance was under those stairs. So I may not have been walking up them, but I was walking under them, which was close enough. And sometimes if I wanted to make an entrance, I would use the internal stairs to go up to the first floor and then exit out so I could do the stairs. Insanity. So look, brownstones are out for me, but we're specifically, the brownstones that are more for vibes that are not actually that great. Pivoting onto something totally different. So another in for me, choker necklaces. But we're building on this. Think Victorian, Gothic style fashion. The clean girl aesthetic is out and whimsical is in. As I'm like kind of looking like a clean girl aesthetic right now in this like tailored dress. But whatever. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that's not always my vibe. So right now I'm living for the Wuthering Heights press tour. And that's kind of all I'm envisioning right now. So I don't know if people saw recently Charlie XCX at the Los Angeles premiere where she was wearing the custom Vivienne Westwood gown. I die. Margot Robbie and the Roberto Cavalli black mini dress and that red dress that she wore by, I'm going to like butcher the name of this designer, but it's Dialara Vine de Cool. Producer, can you please tell me how to say the name of this? Lily's here today and she's helping me. Pause for one moment. Okay, we're back. I did a fact check. Dilara Findakulu. So I think she's Turkish is what I just said. She's also 35, which is kind of crazy. But I'm obsessed with a lot of her stuff right now. And she put Margot in this, well, her stylist did, but this was a dress from her. It was actually like a little red corset and mini, it almost looked like a mini corset-y kind of mini skirt, but stunning. And both looks wearing chokers. What did I say? And then we must give a moment to Margot's most recent look for the LA premiere, where Charlie was in her dress as well. But she wore a custom Schiaparelli couture, which, wait for it, accompanying that was Elizabeth Taylor's diamond Taj Mahal heart necklace. It was so fucking beautiful that they pulled this out. So this necklace, I did some research on it. It was gifted to Elizabeth Taylor by Richard Burton on her 40th birthday. And it has rubies, jade, diamonds. I think it was Cartier that originally, they took the necklace because obviously it was originally gifted to this woman called Nur Jahan, and she was the first woman to receive the jewelry as a gift from her husband, who was the emperor, who was one of the emperors at the time in India. So that necklace then ended up with Cartier, and they repurposed it. But on the necklace, it has the inscription. It reads, "Love is everlasting," and then it has the woman's name. And having visited the Taj Mahal last year and learning the story of it and how it really is like a love letter as well, all of it just felt so fitting to this press tour. And the Taj being a symbol of love, the necklace being a symbol of everlasting love, and all of it is so, time back, maximalist. It's just, what's the right word? It is so fun and adventurous and art. It feels like art. It feels like they are playing with fashion in such an interesting way. And this is how I want to dress. So like we've just been in this very minimalist style for quite a while. And I love to see people having fun with this and pushing the boundaries. And I think what we're craving is drama. So not chaos, but romance, fantasy, excess. And by excess, I also don't mean more. It can be just having fun with your style. And that's different colors, different cuts, interesting accessories. And you don't have to be pulling out Elizabeth Taylor's, vintage, gorgeous, probably worth millions of dollars necklace or custom looks from top designers. I think looking at your fashion is almost a play in costume. And I think there's so many beautiful pieces you could go out and find in vintage stores and estate sales. And For me, that is what is in, is when I'm saying maximalist, it is just more and fun and trying different things. And I am so here for it. And also, guys, I wore a choker necklace for my birthday last year. I think I was ahead of the trend. I'm really proud of myself for that. Now seeing Margaret in so many chokers, I was like, I'm dying. I love her. Finally, she's out of the fucking chokehold that Chanel had her in as well. Thank God. Anyways, so that leads to my out. And my out is trends, which even though I picked a trend, which is like what I'm calling the Wuthering Heights core, I think it's more feeling the need to conform to trends. And I feel that pressure sometimes too. It's like all these things are coming up and you're like, well, I need this for the next season. And instead of feeling pressured to pick every trend or feel like I have to follow them, pick things that resonate with you and choose what you love. And who cares if it doesn't follow the looks from the runway or the storefronts. Fashion is costume, have fun, and play. That is my in and out for fashion. Another in that I've been ruminating on is the nostalgia for the early decades. Right now, I feel like everyone is having a comeback tour, but I have to call out one specific individual who I think 2026 is going to be her year. We are all in on Hilary Duff and her Small Rooms, Big Nerves tour. I'm dying to see it. She's playing tonight in LA, but tickets were so expensive. But she's doing all the whole old hits, Come Clean, Metamorphosis, Why Not, So Yesterday. For the first time ever, I would literally lose my mind. She's doing What Dreams Are Made For. What dreams are made of. What dreams are made. I used to always say, this is what dreams are made of. But when I Googled the song, I was like, oh, it's just called What Dreams Are Made Of. But that's her first time ever performing it live, which I think is just so iconic. And I was such a huge Hilary Duff fan as a kid. I feel like her album Metamorphosis came out when I was moving from primary school into high school, my own mini metamorphosis, as I would call it. But I really found her so iconic, and it's been so cool to see her have this, second, like a return to music. There we go. And I think it's interesting because I was also reflecting on there's probably so many young Gen Zs who never were exposed to her music, and now they get to find out all about her. Like, what an exciting moment. Anyways, 2026 in Hilary Duff. Now another in, we're being simple with this one, so stay with me. Your time is like diamonds. Treat it as such. Only share it with those who bring you joy. Out, overextending yourself to please everyone. I'm keeping it very simple because that's something that I'm trying to tell myself. I overextend myself all the time and constantly feel the need to say yes. And I think I'm trying to think of my time as diamonds and really filling the time I have with the people who bring me the most amount of joy. You're welcome. Our next in. We're really going all different places today, just so you can see. Trinkets. Going from your time is diamonds to trinkets. Actually, it kind of falls in nicely, I'm not going to lie. So trinkets, it really ties to the maximalist vibes. And as I love to say, you could never have too many tiny balls. And this isn't going to Amazon or Alibaba, but I think it's like shopping vintage, finding smaller ceramicists, and choosing trinkets you love. Like maybe you're obsessed with buttons or ribbons or miniatures, whatever it is. I am a crockery girl. So, give me all the tiny balls all the time, which also, quick translation, apparently Americans don't use the term crockery because I've had a lot of Americans not know what that means. It's like ceramics, basically. And I think pick, whatever brings you joy. My friend collects coasters from bars and restaurants that she goes to, and she recently got me onto that, or collecting little matchboxes. I think trinkets can be like a little memento from where you've gone. It doesn't have to be something that you feel like you have to purchase or that you need. And that's why I kind of like them. And they don't have to have like a monetary value. Like you said, it could be a free thing, like picking up coasters from restaurants or places you've been. And I like to think of my home as my own little art gallery of mementos and trinkets and art and experiences that I've collected along the way and how I want to showcase that in the space. So 2026, again, is the year of trinkets. Now, moving on to another in. I've noticed I have a lot of ins and not as many outs, which kind of suits my personality because I think I tend to be a very positive person. So the outs are limited. But actually, with this one, I'm going to start with out. Out. anxiety. I say this every year, and the reality is in the likelihood that anxiety won't actually be out. I hope you're with me there. So essentially, I really want my anxiety to be out, but the reality is the anxiety isn't going anywhere. So anxiety is in. And I think I started to think about it more about maybe the in is accepting my anxiety and learning about what triggers it and doing things to help mitigate anxiety really like running my life. And the more therapy I've been doing recently, I think, you guys who've been listening for a while, Kat and I, my old co-host, used to speak about our, journeys with therapy a lot. And I've been seeing a new therapist for a little over a year now. And I've found to be having the most progress with her. And maybe it's just the time I'm at, but we've been looking a lot into my anxiety and definitely starting to uncover different things that have happened throughout my life that have sat with me, and maybe things I haven't dealt with that I didn't realize I hadn't dealt with, and how that can fuel that anxiety. So I am on the path to discovering what that is and trying to be patient with that. And instead of just saying, anxiety's out, I don't want to deal with it, I'm accepting my anxiety, bringing it in, and trying to heal it. So that is what is in for 2026. Moving on, in continuation of the party girl era. I really went to totally different places here, but whatever, you're in for the ride. Continuation of the party girl era. So Brat is still living on for me 2 years later. I don't care if it's cringe, it is, but I actually don't think it's cringe. Whatever, it is whatever you want it to be. I think the ethos of the Brat summer that happened 2 years ago made me more confident to say, I am a party girl and I love it. And I'm not done yet. Burning Man 2026, baby. I want to dance until the sun rises. I want to hug my friends after a great set, DJ set, just to clarify. And I just want to keep partying while we're young. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm so here to accept that. And at 34 years old, I'm still in my party girl era. Let's be messy. Let's be bold. Let's just keep on partying. Which hysterically leads to my next in, which is more time at home. Party girls need to rest. So I'm pretty tired right now. I definitely overdid it last year. I traveled almost every month and I'm exhausted. And I was so grateful for it. I had some beautiful experiences, seeing family, friends, work trips. But I definitely want some time at home. And two things can be true. I can want to stay out to the sunrises and then also have 3 or 4 days and more at home where I don't speak to a single soul. So we're all about balance here at Note to Self. Now, my next out is, pivoting again, complaining about your work. I think we all need to give ourselves the 10% rule, because I've been thinking about this a lot, because I can fall into this too. Work's annoying. You want to complain about it. I think if you are complaining about work more than 10% of the time, I think you have to take it as a sign that maybe it's worth looking at changing your job, if it's possible. I understand everyone's circumstances are different, but if there is the possibility to start maybe passively looking for different jobs, or reaching out to people in your network and having meetings and seeing what else is out there. I think what we spend so much time sitting in this, I'm trying to think of the right word. It almost like the complaining makes it seem, the job that you're probably not liking, it gives it like a way to get out, and it makes you almost put up with it more because you're just letting it all out. But I think it's really not fun for anyone else to be around. And it's also not fun for yourself. You don't want to spend your life complaining about your job. So it's been something that I've started to think about a lot, is don't be a slave to complaining. And you could probably put this across multiple areas of your life, but definitely out for this year for me is complaining about my job. And yeah, I actually like my job. So there's moments that it drives me mental, like anyone, but I'm going to try and pull back on the times that I do complain. But I think I am kind of at the 10%, which is good. So I think if it's more than that, you got to start reflecting. In super early dinner or super late dinner. This might be controversial. I don't want to be at dinner at a normal time, in quotation marks. I want to stroll in for dinner when you almost think you might be having a late lunch. I want to walk in late after a few gorgeous little pre-dinner martinis and be there until the restaurant closes. I do not want to be there at 7 p.m. Few reasons why. One, it actually is impossible to get a 7 p.m. reservation. So this is my way to tell myself early, late dinners, that's where we're at. 7 p.m. is also tends to be a very busy time. And as someone who likes peace and quiet at certain moments in my life, I kind of like the early dinner when people are, slowly coming in. The servers have more time for you. And also at 7 p.m., I was thinking I might as well be home because a 5 p.m. dinner, you're going to be home by 8, maybe 7. That sounds magical. Early night, love it. A late dinner, you're having a night. You're like, I'm going to have a night with my girls or your boyfriend or whatever, your partner, your family. You're like, pre-dinner cocktails, we'll go have a late dinner. And then after the dinner, you go home because it's late. It sounds lovely. It's magical. Or stay up and go dancing and like embrace your party girl era. But this is where I'm at for dinners for 2026, which brings me to my next dirty gin martini. Absolute classic. My all-time fave cocktail. No notes. She's perfect. Love her. Out. Organic wine. I'm so sorry for those that love organic wine. It just, guys, don't know what it is. One glass of organic wine and I have such a bad hangover. I just want my wine to be just classic. I don't mind the sulfates. I kind of want my wine to have sulfates, to be honest. It's less likely to give me a hangover. So out, organic wine. In, fresh talent. For those who listened to episode 1 of season 2, you know how passionate I am about this. And I want fresh talent across the board, not just in television, but in film, in fashion, in, content creators. We need to find the next Connor Story and Hudson Williams whilst also giving them all the roles that is ever happening, cast them in absolutely everything. I heard Connor was meeting with Luca Guadagnino. I'm going to lose my fucking mind if he's in a Luca Guadagnino film. All-time favorite actor. Oscars coming his way. I'm pivoting, but that was really exciting when I saw that. But beyond film and TV, I want to find new models. Find more micro creators. I think that's something I was leaning into this year is I'm really trying to find more micro creators that I like. So I mainly follow women, but I think, people that are living in places that I may not be exposed to or have unique fashion or a unique opinion on things that I resonate with, but they may not have hundreds of thousands of followers. And I really like the idea of micro creators and supporting them. And look, this doesn't mean our OG talent has to go anywhere because clearly I'm obsessed with some of the big names as well, aka me spending 10 minutes talking about Charlie XCX and Margot Robbie. But, I think just diversifying my feed a little bit and bringing in other talent and still elevating the talent that we do have. I think it's just making room for different faces as well that we don't know. And then I would say out, Hollywood recycling the same actors. We'll leave it at that. Thank you, Hollywood. In, gay hockey. Out, straight hockey. Period. That's enough said. In slow media, I want to be more intentional about my media consumption this year, and being more present when I am consuming media. So it's not like, as I was thinking about this, like it doesn't mean putting down your romantasy novels or not watching The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, because I love both those things, but rather being present when I am consuming that. I think so often I'll read a series and then I immediately put it down and I'm just looking for the next one. And I don't even take time to almost process what I've just read. I mean, I'm getting to the point with my romantasy novels where I have all the storylines are mixed up. I don't know what book I am in sometimes because they're all crossing over. And not the worlds are crossing over, just in my head they are because I've read too many of them. And then when it comes to television, I find myself sitting there and as soon as there's an ad break, I'm scrolling on my phone and I'm like, why are you mute the ads and enjoy some silence and some presence. And it doesn't always have to be filled. It just feels like I'm constantly filling my days with some form of media. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I'm listening to a podcast and I really want to try and find moments of silence and then finding presence when I am consuming media. So this year, it's more just about thoughtful consumption. And I think what a lot of people are calling it is slow media. And this leads me to my last in and out. In. Being cringe. Even though I called myself out for being cringe before, I've already failed on my ins and outs, but being cringe. And my sister said to me recently, and I'm obsessed with this, to be cringe is to be free. It's really nice. I really like it. And out is being cool. And I started to think about being cool. And I really wanted to end on this today. And I think instead of, being cool, being out, what we need to do is actually reframe what being cool actually even means. And I started to remember that the cool girl trope, right? And I Googled it to get the exact definition because cool girl, as a cultural trope, it describes a woman who appears low maintenance, fun, and agreeable to male partners, suppressing her true self to fit their expectations. And that is 100% out. So I wanted to reframe it around what is actually cool, what could actually be a cool girl if we want to reframe it. I think it's being yourself is cool, taking up space is cool, saying no is cool, setting boundaries is cool, putting yourself out there for something you want is really cool. Trying is cool, caring is cool, working hard is cool, and also failing is cool. And I'm so tired of content that feels actually, you don't even know that it feels so edited, but I think so much content is edited to look effortless and to look quote unquote cool. When the truth is everything is fucking hard and we do it anyways because we actually care. And seriously, I'm going to get teared up about this. I think like when you want something so badly, you put yourself out there and you work for it, and people might call you freaking cringe or think that that's not cool. But I'm just so done. I'm so done with that sentiment because it's held me back for so long. And I think that it's fucking cool to do all this and put yourself out there and do what you want to do and tell the truth and show how hard it is to people who are pursuing their dreams, because it is not easy. And I think the more we lie to each other, making our lives look perfect, the more of a disservice we're doing to creating art and telling stories. So my final words are to chase your dreams, because life is way too fucking short to be sitting on your phone watching other people, or what we think other people chasing theirs. And look, everyone's dreams could be different. And I think finding what your joy is and prioritizing that and holding onto it so tightly, like the world depends on you never letting it go. And that's how I feel about this podcast, is I'm never letting it go, baby. You're stuck with me. And I'm not going to let anyone tell me it's not cool. And you shouldn't let anyone tell you you're not cool either. So after my little pep talk, those are my 2026 ins and outs. And I hope you guys resonate with them and send me your ins and outs. Maybe I need to add more, but I got a lot here. We've got a lot we're working with. So we'll try and keep myself to these. And I will see you all next week. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.